All right, we are back again to the PerformX podcast where we're connecting doers who perform beyond limits. And as you know, we have been bringing in a couple of speakers who are not just speakers, but they're industry leaders, they're high achievers. And right in the studio with me, I have Adeola Azeez, who is the founder of the Adeola Azeez Community Care Foundation. And we are going to be going through a series of questions with her in just a few minutes. Hello and welcome to the show, ma'am.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Right. I see that you had like the swell time during your panel session, and thank you so much for sharing those insights. So to start with, I would like to know what is that one metric that you would say, because of your industry, you're into the social impact industry. So what is that one metric you would say takes a leader from being just a doer to being a high performing leader? What is that one metrics that you would say would check your list?
Is this in terms of values or in terms of what I'm using to scale?
All right.
In terms of what the foundation focuses on?
Yes, I would want you to focus on administration, what you use to scale in your foundation.
I think the one thing is authenticity.
Great, great.
If you said the one thing
Yes.
is authenticity, and to that I mean to thyself be true.
Be true to yourself.
Yes. If
Okay.
I want to impact socially and I want to deepen it and I want to sustain it, I must ensure that do I have all the wherewithal, the capacity, the people, because you will face challenges. Have you thought it through in terms of, have you done the 360 health check on what you want to do? And all things being equal, you will at least perform 75%, if not 110%.
Wow. Wow, very concise and beautiful. But I hear you talk about if you want to scale above challenges, and I'm going to bring my second question from that. In your foundation, I would love you to share, or we would love you to share your insights on how to, or how do you maximize impact, using minimal administrative strategy. We live in a world where things are quite demanding, but and you need to work with what you have, right? So how would you say you maximize such great impact, in this modern age with such a minimal administrative strategy?
I mean, you're talking about minimal, you also have to talk about resources. Now, two things that I work with is the backbone and the framework of all I do in all my initiatives, in all my impact. I partner, I collaborate using technology. If you go through any of my initiatives, support to the community, there is a tech component in it. Because with tech, it is sustainable, it is efficient, and it deepens. If you understand what I'm saying. So you need to have the right tech solution to the kind of impact you want to bring to the community. And I have two I can readily share with you that I have done, tried, and tested.
Ah, amazing. If you can readily share, please do share.
Okay. So in 2024, right? Looking at, okay, first of all, I'm from Ogun State. And as I shared during the session, the panel session, right? I ran for election in 2023 as a House of Representative for my constituency, which is the Ijebu Central Federal Constituency. And I ran under a party. So in one of the interventions and one of the things that I wanted to do as now a corporate politician, I wanted to celebrate International Women's Day in the community.
Great.
It is done in the urban cities and everybody is gung ho
Right.
about International Women's Day. So I decided to take it to Ijebu, Ijebu Day. And what I also decided to do was to pick a sector relating to women.
Right.
So I was going to empower women in agriculture via technology. Most women in Ogun State are into farming,
Right.
but are they farming optimally? Are they farming modern in a modern way in which they are scaling in terms of their inputs?
Yeah.
Are they exposed to farming across borders? Do they have linkages? Are they using modern day tools,
Married together.
digital tools for agri-tech learning? Okay, so International Women's Day 2024, the theme was invest in women, accelerate growth.
Yes.
So that theme was at the core of what I was thinking of doing.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, how do I begin this? I need to look for the women. I need to look for a partner, an agri-tech firm, and I need to look for the funding to run this if I was going to do it for 200 women. Okay. So the first thing was to look for partners. So I partnered first with a financial institution, Wema Bank, and I partnered with an agri-tech company called Harvest. So with that in place, that was strategic partners. With that in place, I then needed to look for the women. How was I going to get the women who I know if they go through this training, this education, this enlightening, they are they are scalable, i.e., from what they've learned, they will grow
Right.
and be independent. So what did I do? I approached farm organization, cooperatives for them to give me their best women who are currently performing.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, their best women will be based on their judgment and all of that. So they were carefully selected. So we went through a criteria. So with my partner, she had an instructor, a consultant who worked with these women.
Great.
Right? All they needed to do was to come up with not even a smartphone, a regular phone.
Oh.
So we brought them to a room for 2 days and we trained over 150 women. Okay. So empowering them using digital literacy.
Right.
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 We train them using the Google to watch when the rain is coming for their planting. We train them using tech to know the number of input and the expected output. We train them to record their daily results digitally as opposed to putting it in notebooks. Do you understand? And so many others. So there was a practical angle to that. So in doing that, I mean, I don't want to waste too much time. So it was a 2 day. They had the training, and they were in a comfortable room where they were learning. And going further than that, post the 2 day training, we embarked on a 6 month using this consultant. If you knew there was a capacity building a program, I would say let us take the best from those 150 women, let us train them. Anytime Ogun State was giving out fertilizers, I will go under Adeola Azeez community because at this point for this project, I also partnered with Ogun State.
Oh, great.
I apologize, I should have mentioned that. I partnered with Ogun State government, their Ministry of Agriculture. So they recognized what I was doing and they partnered and we partnered together. So they gave me fertilizers, which I gave onward to the performing women. So there were things like that, and there were sometimes where I could buy fertilizers, or if I know people who had fertilizers, they would give it to me, knowing that I was empowering women in tech to do all of that. So that was phenomenal.
Mm.
That was good, because today they are less dependent on government. They have grown in revenue by 25%. Their farming outcome is grown by 35%, because I know there was a 25 and 35. And the fact that 75% are using the digital tools
Oh,
is amazing. So I could track, I could monitor the progress and the growth from these women. Secondly, I did what you call solar powered kiosk.
okay.
What was I trying to do? Again, I was empowering women entrepreneurs at the grassroots. What do women entrepreneurs at the grassroots do? They sell wusi wusi,
Mm.
sachet products, rice, sweets, biscuits in trays, in baskets on the roadside.
Yeah.
And I thought, from this informal sector, right, let me give them a kiosk.
Mm.
So I called it a solar powered kiosk,
Kiosk.
where I identified 50 women, right? Sponsored, powered by Bank of Industry, who supported me. And the person who brought the technology on board was a company called Neighbors Shop.
Mm.
So it was Neighbors
Collaborative
Shop
effort.
partnered with all of them.
Mm.
And if you go around Ijebu today, you see yellow and green Neighbors Shop kiosk with solar. So they are guaranteed power.
Right.
They have a little fridge to sell cold drinks,
Yeah.
right? And we've put a kind of structure
Mm.
into it. I don't want to waste your time how we do all of that,
Yes.
buy the products and all of that. But it's working perfectly.
Wow.
With more funding, with more opportunity, it can be a rollout project. So for those two things,
Right.
right, I've used technology. As I speak, I'm also into a tech hub project
Okay.
for one of the for the community schools in Ogun State. They're starting on Monday, right? It's going to cost me about 30 million to build a tech project in a low community primary school,
Mm.
up to scratch, where digital learning, technology learning will be introduced to these children from an early age. They don't even have the opportunity. As you know, in primary schools, in the urban schools, they actually have a tablet that they're working
So I'm gonna pick from what you just said now.
on. Right.
If you have one advice to give women in tech, because I see how much of passion you have,
Yeah.
especially for the women in tech, and that
Yeah.
is very keen. So, if you're going to have one advice for a struggling woman in tech who wants to, do something similar as what you do, and she's saying, how do I get collaborators? How do I get partners? She has no clue on where to go on. She has a dream, she has a passion, but she doesn't have an in.
Does she have the
She
knowledge?
has a knowledge, but she doesn't have an
Mm.
in on getting investors and collaborators. You mentioned Ogun
She
State
she need to network. She needs to expand on her
network.
on her social network, and intentionally, deliberately going to events where they're tech, where they're improving women. I know a lot of women in tech,
Yeah.
and intentionally I've done so. For me to have a tech hub,
Yeah.
I partner with MTN to give me the data. I partnered with Microsoft to give me the licenses
Mm.
that I would use. If I did not know people there, or to tell them what they're doing, I give them the value proposition. So if I do not know those people in those organizations, my desire, my intervention of building this tech hub in a rural community is dead on arrival.
So you would say that it comes from a place of
Networking is
bringing
key.
yourself out,
Bringing
show
yourself
your
up,
work.
showing up in those events.